Hello, I'm Azai. Welcome back to Christmas Tina. So I actually did not expect to play this soon, but I think I might actually finish this game today. I was gonna take my time with it. Well, maybe savor it, play it one hour a day, or maybe sometimes 2 hours. But it looks like I might actually finish the recording at least today. Since at the end of the week, I'm gonna go out with my family. That's kind of nice. We're gonna go on a trip. For, I don't know, maybe 2 to 3 days. It's Independence Day over here, so we're gonna have quite a lengthy day off. Maybe like 4 days. But yeah. Let's continue Christmas Tina, shall we? I also gotta do something in like 12 minutes, but no worries. I'll probably edit it out. I just need to buy something. So last time I remember, Kana came to the old station. And it's quite interesting. Even with Kana being here, it still doesn't mean that they're gonna have an enjoyable time, or at least trying to reconnect better. Kana might be in better terms with Jing, or not Kana, I mean Eri or Emmy, I think was her sister's name. But I don't think Kana is gonna be in better terms. It was night outside. A large moon was visible in an unusually cloudless sky.
饿了。
I whispered and sat up. I looked at the watch. It was just past 10.
到头来还是没吃上晚饭。
The girl had come back in the evening, and I had left immediately. But the bento store had already been closed. Well, not closed, just completely sold out. Yeah, in Japan, it's very interesting. So the bentos are really, really nice in Japan. Like, in the morning, they have a lot of stock of bentos, right? You know, just frozen food, ready-to-eat meals where you can just microwave and eat them on the go. And at the end of the day, about 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., because they don't really want to waste food, usually the bentos would be 50% to 60% half off. So it's really nice. That's usually when I buy the bentos on convenience stores. It's really awesome. There's actually an anime about that called Bento. It's quite an enjoyable anime, I guess. Perhaps the store was popular. It often closed early when they were sold out. There were a lot of restaurants, of course. They were all quite expensive.
在这边开个饭店，说不定能赚不少钱。
It was obviously an idea influenced by my own hunger at the time. Was it here again? Alright, I decided. This time I was going to find the cat. I'd heard it meowing most days, but never saw it. I hurried to get dressed and went outside.
真冷。
My breath froze the moment I went into the cold air. January was going to be even colder, even though it was already bitterly cold. At least there was no wind. Tokyo was a lot colder than the books had made it sound. I came to Tokyo when it was summer, so I don't know how it was in the winter. But summer, man, I came from Southeast Asia, and the summer here are pretty dang hot. But summer in Tokyo is another matter. I guess it's because the humidity is so different. I heard the cat meowing again. It was coming from the tracks just as it had the days before.
听声音就在这附近吧。
I stepped down onto the tracks and looked around. I was certainly hoping we would at least be able to see the cat by now.
猫さん、どこ行くのよ。
What the? That's the little girl.
你是
He was the younger of the two girls. She'd started living there the same day.
マイケルだ。ハロー。
I forgot she called him Michael.
hello.
Of course, I greeted back. Maybe she'd called me Michael. I wasn't sure. She probably hadn't.
你也来找猫啊？
さっきまで猫と一緒だったの。でもまたどこかに行っちゃったの。
I couldn't understand her, but she was looking at the grass at her feet. If she'd come out looking for the cat, maybe it had been right there.
あの子、なんて名前なんだろうね。で、そういえば、ちゃんとした自己紹介するね。
She positioned herself in front of me.
私、桜井恵美、カンナお姉ちゃんの妹です。
I think it's really easy to understand, even with sign language, to know what the hell your name is. Like, just point at yourself and then keep repeating your name, right? It's really... I feel like these two are a bit... I don't know if they actually introduced themselves. I kind of forgot. But they should at least have introduced their names. I guess these two are really weird in that they don't even want to understand each other. I find that quite weird. I don't know, maybe I'm just a more modern kid. Maybe it was pretty normal back in the day to be more individualistic. Now with internet and such, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I think it just depends on the person. She pointed at herself. See, it's so easy to just know what her name is. I had no idea what she was saying. Maybe she was introducing herself, I thought. Next, she pointed at me.
おじさんはマイケルだよね。
Did she think I was called Michael?
我叫景萧然，
ジン？
叫我景哥哥就行了。我姓
Oh, sorry.
そっか、マイケルじゃなくてジンって言うんだ。ジン。
姓景。那你叫什么呀？
じゃあジン、これで私たち友達だね。友達。
友達？这是你的名字？
そうそう、友達だよ。友達。
Damn you! Emmy! No! She smiled and pointed at us in turn. Apparently her name was Friends. No, Tomodachi. An odd name for a Japanese person, I thought. But I'd heard there were a lot of different names.
で、そうだジン、お腹減ってるでしょ。
不好意思啊，友達，我不懂日语。
ちょっと待っててね、すぐ取ってくる。
哎，喂，你去哪儿啊？
Yeah, see, like, her relationship with Jing is a lot better. Man. Damn you, Kana! Friends ran back towards her room. Man, this is so awkward. Should I just say Tomodachi instead of friends? I think I'll do just that. She hadn't wished me a good night, I thought.
はい、お待たせ。のり弁だよ。
She offered me a white plastic bag. I remembered it, of course.
这是盒饭，要给我吗？
それじゃあおやすみ。
She disappeared again, leaving me with a bento in a plastic bag.
这是给我吃的吧？
I didn't know their language, but it seemed like she'd given it to me.
虽然凉了，还是很好吃啊。
I went back to my room and wolfed down the bento. I hadn't eaten anything since noon and quickly finished it off.
可算舒坦了。
I had to thank Tomodachi the next day. Apparently she was going to be living there anyway. Maybe my luck was beginning to change. I'd found a job the day I came to Japan. And I thought I was going to get along with the younger of the girls. Maybe I would eventually get along with her sister as well. I fell onto my futon. I was no longer hungry, and now the drowsiness set in.
等一下，他们冷不冷啊？
See, this is what I'm talking about, man. Kindness begets kindness, right? Like, you have to show kindness first if you want others to treat you the same way. At least that's how I feel. I mean, if they don't treat you the same way, then that means that they're not a good person, and that's that. But that doesn't mean that you can't be kind to other people. Just be kind to other people, like just give kindness a chance is my way of thinking, or my way of thought for the most part. And if it fails, then that means they're just someone that isn't kind in return. So just accept it. She'd looked very cold the last time I checked. I hadn't seen her carrying anything like a futon into the building either. We didn't have power, so I didn't see how else she could manage to keep warm.
拿过去吧。
I had to overcome my reluctance to visit a girl's room at night, but grabbed 2 blankets and left my room. I was in front of their room. It was obviously dark inside. I decided against knocking. They were probably sleeping already. I didn't want to wake them up. I also didn't like dealing with the older sister. If possible, I wanted to put the blanket on her and leave undetected. There you go. I whispered. I was very nervous. I felt like an intruder. I found her the same way she had been before. She was wrapped up in her tiny blanket, legs drawn up against her chest.
寒い。
只盖这么一点儿，看着就冷。
I put the blanket I was carrying on her.
なんか、カビ臭い。
I couldn't understand what she was saying. It was going to be a little warmer at least. I looked at her sister, Tomodachi. She was already wrapped in a thick blanket. Apparently, they had bought a single. I put another on top.
这样肯定就不会冷了。
I whispered and tried to leave the room.
何？あれ？どうしたのジン？
嘘，不用起来，不用起来。嘘。
I put a finger on my lips to make sure she stayed quiet. I hadn't wanted to wake either of them up, and I didn't want the older one to know what I was doing. It somehow embarrassed me.
言っちゃダメってこと？
所以说，嘘，要安静。
わかった。お口チャックだね。She
made a ziplock motion across her lips. She had understood, it seemed. The gestures seemed to imply secrecy to me, at least.
虽然不懂，总之什么都别说。嘘。
I made the same ziplock gesture and left the room.
累了。
Alright, give me a tiny second here. I am going to do something real quick, and I will be back with the power of editing. And I'm back. Sorry about that. I had to buy something real quick. I was never going to get used to it. Sneaking into a girl's room at night just felt really bad. At least she wasn't going to be as cold now.
もう朝か。よく寝た。おはよう、お姉ちゃん。おはよう。
I stretched out as I sat up. The sky outside was cloudless.
って、あれ？こんな毛布あったっけ？
I noticed the blanket I was wrapped in. Emmy also had a second blanket.
それは、もしかして、エミが持ってきてくれたの？どこかで見つけて。そうか。
Oh, sorry. I knew where they'd come from. She must have found them inside his room. I'd seen all the blankets inside there when I investigated the building. But when we divided up the rooms, I hadn't wanted to ask him for any of them. I I didn't think I could have gotten through to a miser like that. Amy must have gone to his room, not knowing the circumstances, and just taken them from there.
無知の勝利ね。何が？
The blankets were a little moldy but warm. There had been far more than we needed. He wasn't going to miss one or two of them.
じゃあ、とりあえず朝ごはんでも食べようか。
Yeah, man, at this point, I kinda give up on Kana being actually kind to Jing. Like, it's fine. Fuck that. As long as Jing is, like, as long as people know, or at least I know that Jing isn't an asshole or something, it's fine.
お腹ペコペコ。
Besides, being kind, just so that you can reciprocate kindness in reciprocate? I think I'm saying the word correctly. Just to get, like, you know, same amount of kindness isn't really kindness anyway.
食パンと昨日の残りのお弁当でもってない？
I couldn't find the bento from the day before. I knew we hadn't eaten one of them.
もしかしてエミが食べちゃった？別にいいわよ。食べ盛りなんだし遠慮しなくても。お弁当猫にあげたから。え？猫いたんだ。
I hadn't even seen it yet, but Emmy had already given it food. He must have liked her quite a bit.
どんな猫だった？人懐っこい？すぐ逃げちゃったけど、黒猫だったよ。そっか。私も見たかったな。そのうちお姉ちゃんも会えると思うよ。うん。楽しみだよね。
All I had heard of it was meowing. Sakura had told me to check up on it, but I wanted to see it for myself too. Okay, that was pretty fast. It's staring down at hundreds of millions of yen. I'm a little bit of an idiot too. Our lives aren't worth much in this country. That's probably Jung talking. I don't know what he's hiding there behind his back. Probably a beer or something? Looks like a drink. A can of something. A few days later, it was January. The first mornings of 1988 were marked by clear skies. Apparently, Japan wasn't using the old calendar anymore, but instead the Western one, where a new year had already begun. New Year's Eve had been quiet, without firecrackers or drunks arguing loudly. Pretty surprising considering this is the bubble period. I thought that most people would be celebrating like crazy during that time. Something had been lacking, I felt.
おはよう。おはよう。今日は天気いいね。
早。
I greeted the two on the platform. As always, compared with her energetic younger sister, she is cold. We were on reasonable terms at this point.
そういえばお姉ちゃん、マイケルじゃないよ。突然何のこと？名前だよ。マイケルじゃなくて、ジンっていうの。そうなんだ。まあ、適当にマイケル・ジャクソンとか言っただけなんだけど。なんか言った？なんでもないわよ。だけどエミ、どうして彼の名前知ってるの？だって私たち友達だもん。友達？それはないでしょう。そんなことないよ。ねえジン。
She said my name. What was I supposed to say now?
那友達、我出去一会儿。
言った。今確かに友達って言った。言った通りでしょ。知らなかった。いつの間に仲良くなったんだろう。
She gave me a puzzled look. Whatever the problem was, I went outside. You know, I can't really blame Kana 100%. If I was a girl and I was with a guy, I guess I would be pretty cautious. See, here's the thing though, I guess my perspective is just too masculine to understand just how cautious a girl should be, right? I'm a guy, so I think for the most part, I'm confident in my ability to fight back even if something were to happen. Like if there were like a scuffle. But if I was a girl, I probably wouldn't have wanted that to happen, right? I would probably want to prevent that from happening. But I guess her cautiousness is something that's understandable. I keep trying to reason this out, you know, because I don't want to be biased. There was a lot I wanted to buy, and it was going to take a while. I marked myself absent 3 hours in advance to make sure she knew. Hopefully they could use this to plan their day better.
そうだ、いいこと思いついた。どうしたの、エミ？私がここでお留守番しているから、二人で出てきたら？
Hey, no. I personally wouldn't do that. Like leaving a young girl alone?
二人って？お姉ちゃんとジンだよ。
Tomodachi was pointing at me and the girl. She wanted us to do something together, but I had no idea what.
ほら、たまには二人で一緒に。いや、特に今日は買い物ないし。
She glanced at me. She didn't seem upset, just a bit confused.
それよりエミ、そろそろ勉強始めるわよ。ちょっとお姉ちゃん、手引っ張らないでよ。
They went back to their room together. I watched the situation impassively. I had no idea what was going on.
不知道怎么回事，还是快去买东西吧。
The area in front of Harajuku Station was crowded as always. People seem to be, there we go, typo. People seem to be wearing different clothes, possibly due to the new year.
好多人穿和服啊。
Friends, oh sorry, Tomodachi, the little sister, was always wearing one, so I'd gotten used to seeing them. But apparently the Japanese did not wear kimonos all that often. So, the number of people wearing them that day stood out to me. I suspected it was related to the Japanese New Year. I was lost in thought as I walked across the area in front of the station.
小冉啊，来的正好。
哦，江先生，
你闲着呢吧？来，帮我个忙。
没事儿是没事儿，但我不去。
I didn't want to be dragged into another weird bar. Besides, I wanted to go back to work. The longer I spent outside, the less money I made. Going with him to some stupid venue was a waste of both time and money.
就当是工作嘛。
工作？有问题的工作我可不干啊。
不是，你放心吧，跟我来。
He began to walk away, not waiting for my answer. His pushy attitude annoyed me, but I decided to follow him anyway. I didn't want to be dragged into anything bad, but he was sort of my boss.
到了，就这儿。
We arrived at a high-rise apartment building. It wasn't particularly old. Oddly enough, it seemed to be uninhabited. Uninhabited. There we go.
然后呢？要做什么？力气活我可干不了啊。
在我旁边站着就行。
到底要干嘛啊？
工作。
Without further explanation, Zhang went inside. Standing in the entrance, he lit a cigarette.
你抽吗？
Nope. Well, I don't smoke. I don't know if he smokes.
我不抽烟。我说，这到底是什么工作？
I actually have a very, very strong opinion about smoking.
你看过《教父》吗？
Animation? I've seen Tokyo Godfathers. I don't know about The Godfather. Not really a movie guy.
没看过，是一个外国电影吧？
也是，毕竟中国没上映过。
He handed me a can of coffee.
这是
我一会儿喝，你帮我拿一下。
啊？
但是记住，要把手背到身后拿着。
江先生，这究竟是要干什么呀？
最好是看起来像在身后藏着东西一样。
藏东西？
是啊，比如说枪之类的。
What the fuck? That's so sketchy. I guess he's confronting Yakuza or something? Or maybe he's trying to get a debt from someone? A debt collector? Potentially? An expensive black car stopped in front of the building soon after. A very well-built man got out of it.
喂，那些人不会是黑社会吧？
别胡说八道，他们是善良的房地产公司员工。
Sure.
不是，这些人身上纹着纹身，还拿着刀啊！
总之，你给我闭好嘴，站着就行。
As we talked, more Yakuza left the car and began to stroll over to us. I did what Jiang wanted and stood there quietly. My arms were locked nervously behind my back. Eventually, they stopped in front of us. They were perhaps 3 meters away. We were facing each other directly.
ここはうちの物件なんだけどな。
Jiang spoke up first. He didn't seem to be afraid at all. It was now that I realized that this was some kind of dispute over the property.
なあ、そっちもあらことは避けたいだろ
う。啰嗦，别他妈像个日本鬼子一样！
关你腿
你
啊！
看来说中文要来得快呀。
关你鸟事儿！你这老东西，快给老子滚
Chinese?
你先闭上你的嘴。啊，是，非常抱歉，胡哥。
One of the younger gangsters was chastised by an older one and fell silent. No, they weren't Yakuza. These were Chinese, perhaps belonging to the Triads. Okay. The Triads and the Yakuza were competitors, though they did cooperate sometimes for mutual gain. I played the Yakuza
我说
games.
江先生，
I know about the
能把
Triads.
这间公寓让出来吗？我们想赶紧把这事情给办了，好改造成空地。
说什么呢？不是还有人在住吗？
哪有什么居民嘛？不就是你一直霸占在这里吗？
瞧你，净说些人听不懂的话。
哼，杂碎八毛。你开个价钱吧。
一间屋2个数，我这儿有4间。
哇，你真是狮子大开口啊！
你知道，最近搬迁费也不是闹着玩的呀。
John grinned at them. 2 stacks probably referred to some amount of money. I doubted it was 200,000 yen. Maybe it represented 2 million yen. Maybe 20,000 yuan or something else.
张先生，日本的黑社会啊、ヤクザ啊，我都认识不少的。
你想威胁我？
明人就不说暗话，想要把你的尸体丢进东京湾，都几费功夫嘅。
和混凝土一起塞进钢罐里？
啊，再沉到海里。
Neither of them so much as batted an eye at this. They weren't angry either, they were composed. It was hard to tell how serious the threats were. If 1 or 2 Chinese people disappear in Japan, nobody was going to care. True.
说起来啊，老胡，你们还在附近卖药吧？
那又怎么啫？
要是让道上的人知道了，可不妙了吧？也算是知会一声。日本的帮会，我也认识不少。
那你就是在威胁我们喽？
这个嘛，兄弟， 胳膊有点累了吧？
I was surprised to be addressed.
这家伙刚来不久，愣头青一个。哎呀，耐不得性子，我也拿他没办法。
喂，做咩啊？想动手啊？
The gangster pulled out a gun. He wasn't talking to Zhang, he was talking to me. He pointed the gun at me. I still had my hands behind my back. Most likely he thought I was hiding a gun. It turned out to be a kind of deterrence. We continued to stare at each other. What was he going to do if he found out? It probably wasn't going to end well. My hands around the can grew sweaty. I was really nervous and I knew it.
靓仔，你叫什么名字？
景萧然。
I barely managed to say this with a dry mouth. It took everything I had to make myself sound calm.
喂，我说江先生，这个姓景的靓仔是傻子吗？
正因为是个傻子，所以得当心些。
这样子呀，原来是个傻佬啊！
胡哥，哪用怕这种家伙呀？
哦，正是因为是傻子才要注意。
没事儿，胡哥，这种小毛孩哪怕就是稍微踹两脚，马上就会哭爹喊娘啊！
I mean, he's not wrong.
啊，你讲的又几有道理嘛！嘿，
为什么打我呀？
A gunshot rang out and one of the gangsters went down on the ground. It took me a moment to realize what had happened. I could smell the burned powder and saw the blood on the asphalt. The older triad member had shot one of the younger ones.
我不是早就叫你闭上嘴了吗？
总归死不了就是了。
The younger gangster grimaced as he clutched his leg. Zhang and the man continued unperturbed. These were the triads after all. Oh, sorry, I kind of messed up the sentence, but alright. And Zhang. Neither of them seemed to care in the slightest.
靓仔，你姓景啊？
是的，
我是不会跟傻子硬碰硬的，毕竟划不来。不过呢，面对1个亿这么多的钱，我也是会变成傻子的。
还真是老生常谈的威胁呀。
这可不是威胁，我讲真的。
那行呗，我就稍微考虑便宜些。不过老胡啊，你可别忘了，在这个国家，我们都是贱命一条。
可不是嘛。
The cars drove off, and Zhang watched them until they were completely out of sight. I guess it is just a threat. I don't get it though. I thought that the Hu guy would see through that Jing. I don't know. I guess he doesn't have enough information. I guess technically Jing could be a new person that's hired by Zhang, right? And he could be trigger happy and whatnot. That's probably his defense. Or what he thought anyway. So maybe that's why he's careful. And idiots, I guess that's like the threat, right? Idiots probably don't care if they die. If they can take a couple peoples with them. I guess that's like the thing that was on his mind. I let out a sigh when the triads were gone. I'd been shaking a little without realizing it.
突然，咖啡给我。
哦，
I put my arms back around him and handed him the sweaty can.
还真是辛苦了。
喂，刚才你打算怎么办啊？
怎么办？
要是那些黑社会来硬的，
他们不会的。
He said. I wasn't even finished speaking.
为什么这么肯定啊？
因为你在我身边拿着枪啊，
那是装的呀！
这就够了，只要给他们一个撤退的借口就行。
Man, this sort of bluff, I don't know if it would work in real life. Well, then again, I don't know. I'm not into this sort of world. I don't do it anything too dangerous. He was dangerous, I was sure of it. He was involved in land speculation and the sex trade. He must have been taking kickbacks from the girls too. I was taking his money, and I was ashamed of it. But he was also shrewd.
我们住的那个老站房，不会也有黑社会去吧？
不会，那边的施工方也是个正经的公司，那活啊赚不了多少钱，没意思。
He began to walk away towards the station. Apparently my part was done. I went back to the main station with him. It was only a few minutes away. But the atmosphere was completely different.
事情有点急，把你叫出来，不好意思了。
都完事了你才说。
总而言之，这算是报酬。
He handed me 3,000 yen. 3 single bills of 1,000 each. All I'd done was stand next to him. It had only been about 5 minutes of work. But given the danger involved, it seemed low, I agree. I might well have gotten killed there, I thought.
3000日元你不满意？
是有那么点不满。
嗨，之前也说过，我不干不来钱的活儿。
可是只有3000日元，实在没有什么说服力。
季秋然，你可别忘了，报酬的高低是跟风险挂钩的。
He's saying that was risk-free? I don't know about that. And with that, Zhang walked away. I looked at him and stuffed the money into my pocket.
也就是说，刚才的风险只值3000日元吗？
I wasn't sure what to make of this sudden windfall. I continued to think about it on the way back.
外表看起来光鲜亮丽的元素，其实比想象中复杂的多。
I'd sensed it in the nightclub too. For every bright neon light, there was a shadow cast. Damn, that was a pretty fast chapter. Quite surprising. Okay, so it looks like there might be more than 12 chapters or 10 chapters like I thought. Because there you go. Like it seemed there that was the end of the... Like it doesn't go down anymore, right? And it just goes on a list. So I guess there might be more than 10 chapters. So maybe I might not be able to finish this session today. We'll see. But the chapters are getting shorter though. That's how I feel. I don't know. It's been, let's see, 38 minutes, yeah. I feel like the chapters are getting shorter. It appeared just as bright and upbeat, but also sad at the same time. This was the best Michael could do. Why is it still 1987? It should be 88 now. I guess there might be a typo there. Or they forgot to change it. Could be. I doubt this is a flashback.
じゃあエミ、6の段は覚えた？書くって苦手かも。ダメよ。お姉ちゃんも苦手だったけど、覚えたんだし。6に12、63、18、64、24。
I was teaching Emmy once again after a long time of not having done so. It was our first time since I'd gone to Tokyo. We were trying to memorize the multiplication table. Something she would have had to memorize in 2nd grade.
そういえば、ジン帰ってくるの遅いね。そろそろだと思うけど。
The way he had marked the timesheet, it had seemed like he wanted to be back by noon. but it was evening already. I would have liked to go out and buy groceries too. The stores were going to close soon.
私迎えに行ってこようか。そこまでしなくても。それとも、私がお留守番してるから、お姉ちゃんが外に出る？それはどうなんだろう。
Both of us had been hired to do this job. Besides, Emmy was still a child.
だったら、私が買い物に行ってこようか。
My god, I know she sounds very mature for her age, but I don't know, man. Letting someone like her alone is pretty sketchy. I don't know what the hell the parents were thinking about this.
そうか。
That was a possibility. Emmy was still very young, but buying bentos was not too much to ask.
じゃあ、買いに行ってくるね。
I don't know, there are some sketchy people out there.
気をつけてね。
I went back to the room alone. He was still outside and Emmy was also going to be gone for a while. I had nothing to do and simply spaced out. When I thought about how I was still working, it seemed very surreal.
多分、地上げってのだよね。
I'd heard about it on TV. As long as people lived somewhere, the property couldn't be sold or bought. But unlike what I'd seen on TV, nobody was coming to the old station. Sakura had also told us to just relax. Not having anything to do meant that time passed very slowly. Having this time to myself still felt nice though.
エミ、遅いな。
I fell asleep before I even realized I was sleepy. Guess there's not really much you can do there.
ったら、うちの子はどうして死んだのよ。
I was gonna say, like they dropped this plot point very early, but here we go.
ねえ、教えてくれる？うちの子は悪いことをしていたの？
それは。
I couldn't answer her. Shady, well, perhaps he had been.
それは死ぬほど悪いことだったの？
Probably not. If I hadn't been so clueless, perhaps he'd still be alive.
ずるいじゃないの。あなたにも責任あったんでしょ？どうしてあなたは無事なのよ。
You know, if I was this girl, or then again, like I said, my mentality is too much of a guy, man. Like, I think in the most radical way possible. I don't know if this attributes because I'm a guy or because that's just the way I think. But if I was in her shoes, I'd probably slap this girl. Like, are you kidding me? Telling someone to kill themselves or telling someone to die? Are you serious?
あなただって罰を受けるべきでしょ。
Well, I did get injured. Eventually, I wouldn't need the crutches anymore. But I was never going to be the same again.
私に、どうしろというの？
This sort of situation, I feel like, is something I can't just let someone push me in the way they want it.
許せないのよ。いつかあなたはこのことも忘れてしまう。そして何食わぬ顔で幸せになっていくのよ。
そんなの、すごくないじゃない。夢か。
I'd fallen asleep.
エミ、まだ帰ってきてないんだ。
I was beginning to worry and left the room. Buying a couple of bento from the store shouldn't have taken so long.
ただいま。
我回来了。
おかえり。
Amy was finally back. He was with her. They'd probably run into each other outside.
あれ？どうしたのお姉ちゃん。泣いてるの？え？
I realized she was right.
なんでもないの。気にしないで。
回来晚了，我记一下。
He He checked the time and marked himself on the timesheet as always. Then he took the things he'd bought to his room.
それじゃあお姉ちゃん、勉強また始める？今日はもう無理かな。もうすぐ真っ暗になるからね。へへん。それなら大丈夫だよ。
Candles lit the waiting room. Ordinarily, we would have been curled up in our blankets by now.
これなら明るいよね。でも、このろうそく、どうしたの？ジンがくれたんだよ。ジン？彼が？さっき駅前で会った時に、アイスも買ってくれたんだよ。そうなんだ。
I couldn't really imagine that stingy man buying anyone ice cream. I really struggled to understand why Emmy and he were on such good terms.
ジンって優しいよね。そうかな。たまたまじゃないの？
Thankfully, she's not like, like if I were in her shoes, I'd probably have thought that maybe that Jing might have been a pedophile. I would actually be shocked.
お姉ちゃんもジンと仲良くしないとね。
You know, it wouldn't have. I don't think it would have been too far-fetched to think that she would think of Jing that way. It was an innocent suggestion, and I didn't know what to say. I could agree or disagree, and in the end, I did neither. Sato had also always been nice. It's a weird way to put that sentence, but alright. And somehow the two men merged in my head. Yeah, I guess I could understand, like having a distrust of men after what happened. I finished eating and looked into the darkness outside. It was about time to put out the candles and to sleep.
また猫が来てるみたいだね。お姉ちゃん、早く行ってみようよ。猫ちゃんどこかな？どこにもいないね。どうしてだろうね。私はいつも会えるのに。さあ、猫って怖がりだから、人が多いと逃げちゃうのかも。
As we talked, he appeared on the rails in the darkness. He'd probably come out looking for the cat too.
こんばんは。ジンも来たんだね。
怎么样？今天那只猫在吗？
猫はいた？にゃーにゃー。
He gave her a puzzled look. Apparently cats did not say meow in Chinese. Or meow, whatever.
そういえば、ろうそく、ありがとう。ほら、お姉ちゃんもお礼を言わないと。ね、ジン。おかげで夜になっても明るくなったよ。
虽然不知道你在说什么，你高兴就好。
勉強も頑張るね。
They couldn't communicate, but they were smiling. Looking at them made it feel forced and painful. A few candles were nothing to be excited about. Our family had had to endure so much for her, and she knew nothing of it. Oh, please, no, don't go to that spiral of thinking.
どうせ、あと数日で電気がつくわよ。
Okay, now this way of thinking is just plain ungrateful. The very least you could do is just thank him. My tone was more dismissive than I intended.
それなら、もっと早くろうそくくれたらよかったのに。ダメだよ、お姉ちゃん。そんなこと言っちゃ。いいのよ。どうせ何言ってるかわからないんだから。ほら、もう帰るわよ。待ってよ、お姉ちゃんたら。
Is it really? Just because he couldn't understand, is it really to talk like in front of him? I rushed back to our room. Like, the reason why she could even say that is because he can't understand. This is not any different than just talking behind his back. Without saying a word, I spread out the blankets. I knew that I was irritated.
じゃあ、今日はもう寝るわよ。
I blew on the candles to put them out and drenched the room in darkness. I pulled the blanket up to my head and pulled my legs up against myself. I was unhappy with myself for being so dismissive. Emmy had never taken easily to people outside the family. With him, though, she'd quickly warmed up. He'd given her candles and ice cream. I didn't think I was jealous. I was probably just irritated. Irritated and lonely. Or was it? Was it this game that talked about that stupid hedgehog dilemma? I don't remember, but I think recently I heard about the hedgehog dilemma where, you know, like hedgehogs are creatures that want warmth, but they hurt each other if they try to get close to each other because of their, you know, spikes. I went back to my room and lay down. I guess that's what she is experiencing, right? The hedgehog dilemma. I hadn't been able to find the cat again. Only the little girl had seen the cat so far. Apparently she'd seen the cat a few times already too.
刚才那个女孩好像有点心事。
This time I was talking about the older one. The introverted one that I was doing this job together with. She'd been angry and upset before. But earlier, she had seemed more lonely than anything.
看起来最多就是个高中生啊，到底发生了什么呢？
The younger sister wasn't going to school either. She was definitely too young to be out of mandatory education. I opened a study book, not one for the university, but one about Japanese culture. I wanted to learn at least a little bit. I didn't have a plan for which university I'd apply for yet anyway. Maybe I could choose a Japanese one. Either way, it couldn't hurt to learn a little bit of Japanese. Then I heard it again.
又来了吗？
This time, I immediately leapt out of my room. What is with this cat man? When I got outside, snow was beginning to fall. My frozen breath drifted through the air. Was the cat still there? It had sounded like it was close by, so I tried to move slowly. I decided that perhaps the reason I'd never seen it so far was that my eagerness to find it had scared it off. I tried to breathe quietly and looked around. And yes.
はいはい、ちょっと待ってね。猫さん、お腹減ってるの？
The cat was there. The younger of the two sisters was with it next to the tracks. It was too dark to see it though. Supposedly it was a black cat, and it was quite dark. I slowly stepped down from the platform.
猫さん、待って！もう、またどこかに行っちゃった。
Tomodachi was there. I couldn't see the cat.
Hello。
チン。
唉，他又跑了。
もしかして猫のこと？にゃーにゃー？
Meow meow. She said that earlier as well. Maybe she was talking about the cat. I gestured towards the girl and where I thought the cat had been.
尿尿看到偷木他妻不会逃走？
猫とも友達だから。
She nodded. We were in agreement. It was odd that the cat didn't run away from the girl. Usually cats didn't like the excitability of children. As I thought about this...
ねえ、チン。
怎么了？
ちょっとお話していい？
She was less bubbly than usual as she gestured towards the bench. I understood what she wanted me to do. We both sat down on the bench on the platform. The snow was beginning to gather around us.
ろうそく、本当にありがとう。それで、ごめんね、お姉ちゃん。昔からあまり素直じゃなくて。
I had no idea what she was saying. Maybe she was talking about her sister. Maybe she was talking about the cat. When I saw her sadness, I decided to try and ask a question.
你不去上学吗？学校
It's so funny.
学校のこと？
对对对，学校
I think in Japanese or in Chinese it's like shuisheng. School, I mean. I was using the Japanese word for school and pointing at her. I'd been wondering for a while.
私、学校は行かなくてもいいの。
She nodded. Apparently there was no problem with it. It seemed odd to me. But perhaps there was some rule that allowed it.
でもね、良い子にしてたら行けるようになるんだって。良い子ってわからないかな。良い子。
良い子
お父さんやお母さんの言うこと聞いて好き嫌いしない子だよ。あ、まだ私、人参は苦手なんだけどね。
She continued and gave me a bashful smile. I was completely lost by now.
でもね、本当は違うの。お父さんやお母さん、お姉ちゃんも私のために苦労している。そのことを隠してるみたいだけど、本当は私知っているの。でも私には何もできないから。だからいつも笑っているようにしてるの。
She smiled at me. She looked at the ground, then up at me again and grinned uncomfortably. I looked up at the January sky. The snow began to fall more thickly from the dark expanse above. She sat next to me with her frail little body. Looking at me, the snow was starting to cover her head. I had no idea what she was trying to tell me. But her smile looked different from how it normally was. It appeared just as bright and upbeat, but also sad at the same time. So I...
话说啊，你之前还叫我 Michael 呢。
何？
Michael，Michael。
I grinned and got up. I took a few steps away from her. I jumped up and down a few times to build momentum and went in head first. What the?
这个知道吗？这个叫霹雳舞。
What the fuck?
どうしたのジン？
不是锦，是 Michael。
I wasn't all that good, frankly. What the hell? I'd shown this to my friends in the past to a lukewarm reception. It wasn't anywhere near what Michael Jackson could do. My moonwalk impression even ended up edging forward. And still... I did the absolute best I could. I guess he was just trying to cheer her up, huh?
怎么样？不错吧？
Does the person who made this visual novel really like Michael Jackson or something? I mean, I like his songs, don't get me wrong, but this is hilarious.
面白い。それ何なの？
但好戏还在后面呢。
すごいすごい。
Watching this, I don't know, it's kind of nice, you know? I don't think I'm a particularly kind person or that I am receptive towards people for the most part. So my impression of people are not really the most positive for the most part. And trying to see, like, these guys, strangers, just try to cheer each other up is just it's heartwarming, you know? The snow continued to fall. She was laughing, her white breath scattering in front of her face. Like, I'm just not as naive as I used to be, and that's both a blessing and a curse. All the sadness she had shown earlier was wiped away and replaced with glee by my breakdance impression. Michael would just have to brace the cold. Perhaps Michael should have worn thicker clothes for this. I didn't understand the language of this country. She didn't understand the language of mine. This was the best Michael could do. To communicate awkwardly with a little girl. Was I trying to comfort her? I wasn't sure myself. I mean, probably. If you need money, or that I'd quit. Yeah, I think that's a typo on their part that they didn't change the 1987. I'm gonna load the chapter, but I think I'm gonna call it an episode and take myself a short break before I continue on. I don't think I could save in that screen, so I'll load this chapter. About 2 weeks had passed. There we go. Let me save my game. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like, the story feels like it's not going anywhere, but at the same time, it's really chill and I enjoy the story. Like, I'm curious about how it's going to end. I'm also very... Like I said, that scene with Jing just trying to breakdance and break the ice, that was actually very, very heartwarming for me. Kind of reminds me that, you know, two people could actually just communicate in a different way and still understand each other. But enough about that. I think I'm gonna take a short break. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I'm enjoying this. Even though this is, I don't know, like I said, to some people, there might not be any sort of substance to this, but I just enjoy it for the way it is. And I hope people are also enjoying it with me. But yeah, I'll see you guys in a couple of, or probably in 2 days, since I'll be uploading this in 2 days, you know, 2-day intervals. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you in a bit. See ya.